Okay, guys, the last video I did was Landon's 7-month update, I think, and I got a request to do my labor and delivery video. Now, I'm going to talk about my labor and delivery. I was in labor for like 12 hours, which was crazy, but my labor was like really easy compared to most people's, so, um, yeah. But, okay, my labor started on, I guess it was technically, no, my labor, okay, start over. I went to the doctor's on January 13th, which was a Thursday. My doctor told me I was 2 centimeters dilated, and to go home, I hadn't felt any contractions or anything, so I had no idea it was 2 centimeters. But I went home, and my best friend was like, we're gonna go walk, So I went to lunch, and then I walked for like 4.5 hours, literally. We went to Walmart for an hour and a half. I was getting so cramped. Then we went to the pet store, and we walked around outside a little bit, even though it was freezing because I live in Pennsylvania. But so we walked around forever, and then we decided to go to my boyfriend's house. And whenever we were there, I thought my water broke, and I felt like I was really wet, and I didn't know what happened. And so we rushed home, and I was like, well, I want to stay home. I don't want to rush right there. So that was probably about like 10 o'clock. So I laid in bed, waited. We figured that it wasn't my water because I didn't continue to drip. So we went to sleep, and I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was really uncomfortable. I thought it was Braxton Hicks. I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to sleep. Couldn't really go back to sleep. Called my doctor at like 3:30. He told me that he thought it was Braxton Hicks. And to take 2 Tylenol, a warm bath, and go back to sleep. So I took 2 Tylenol, and I tried to go back to sleep, and then around like 4 o'clock, I started timing my contractions. At that point, they were like 5 minutes exactly apart, and they were really intense. They hurt real bad. And I kept timing them. I kept writing them down. And then around like 5 or so, they started to slow down, and they were like 8 minutes apart. So I was like, okay, I guess they really were Braxton Hicks. I'm just going to go back to sleep. Whatever. So I ended up going back to sleep. I woke up in the morning, and it was probably about 8 o'clock. And I was sending my boyfriend to work, and he was like, I really don't feel like I should go. I feel like we should go to the hospital to see what's going on. So I called my doctor's office again, and the lady that I talked to was like, I think you're in labor. I think you need to go to the hospital. So I reluctantly packed all my stuff because I thought I was not in labor, and I thought they were just going to send me home because it was 2 days before my due date. So, like, for me to go early, I thought that would never happen. So we finally got there, and I was literally, like, I walked in the door. They put me in a wheelchair, even though I could still walk. They put me in a wheelchair. I got upstairs. We got to the hospital at 10 o'clock. By, like, 10:10, they told me that I was staying and that I was having a baby and I was 4 centimeters dilated. My doctor came in like 5 minutes after that, broke my water, and they literally, like, and took my blood work and everything. They got my IV started of, like, just fluids. And then an hour after I was there, they came in, they gave me my epidural. My contractions were pretty bad, but they weren't, like, unbearable. It just felt like after I had the contraction that I was going to throw up. So I got my epidural. Literally, they told me I'd feel 3 more contractions. I felt no more contractions after my epidural. Like, as soon as they put it in, I was completely fine. I had no more contractions. I got a little bit nauseous after the epidural, so they gave me IV Zofran. And I had that. And then probably like an hour after the epidural, my contractions were slowing down a little bit, so they gave me a low dose of Pitocin just to keep my contractions close together, so when it was time to push, I wouldn't have like big resting periods in between my contractions. So I had that, and by the time like all this was over, it was probably like 1 o'clock. So they told me to get some rest. I laid there. I called very, very few people and told them that I was in labor and I was having my baby. And so I did that. I rested for a little bit. Like, I felt like after they gave me the epidural, my labor went so fast because she came in like at 1 or something after they did the Pitocin and everything, and I was already 8 centimeters dilated. So it went really, really fast. And then at 3 o'clock, she told me that I was 10 centimeters and then it was time to push, which was really, really exciting. And I pushed for exactly 34 minutes, and my son was born at 3:34 on January 14th. And he was 8 pounds and 11 ounces, 21 and a half inches long. So I had a huge baby. And, yeah, so that was my labor and delivery story. I had to get stitches because I got an episiotomy because his head was huge. Like, he has a really big head. But, yeah, I had to get an episiotomy. And, I mean, recovery wasn't too bad. I bled for, like, 6 weeks after, which sucked. But, recovery wasn't too bad. I came home. I had him on a Friday. I came home Sunday morning, and I took my Christmas tree down the day I came home from the hospital. So I wasn't that sore or anything. Like, I was up and walking after labor. Like, I wasn't that sore, but my stitches were probably the worst because it, like, burns when I peed. But besides that, I was good. So yeah, that was my labor and delivery. I was in labor from, like, I mean, I guess I was probably in active labor from, like, in the middle of the night or something so I was probably in labor for about 12 hours. But I didn't know I was in labor until like 10:30 the next morning when I was 4 centimeters dilated. So, yeah. And I'm going to do an update after this, do my son's 9.5-month update. So, look for that, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.